Hi, 5th and 6th grade, Mrs. Aiden coming at you again with some more information. Today we're going to talk about Lexile, and I know that the 6th graders fully are aware of what Lexile Level means, but for those 4th graders coming into 5th grade, you probably don't know exactly what Lexile is. If you are a 5th grader, a current 5th grader, and you've just come in from 4th grade, let me explain what your Lexile level is. You're probably used to the Fontes Pinnell system where you had guided reading and you had a letter that maybe told where you read, such as W or T or M, and you knew your reading level that way. Well, Lexile is just another way for guided reading to occur. When you take your map testing, there is a number that the report tells us, and it gives us a range of what your reading level abilities are, and it's called your Lexile level. As you go into junior high and high school, you will be using this Lexile level. So I kind of like to get you acclimated to that when you come to 5th grade. So everybody's going to receive a card. Some of you might remember what your spring Lexile level was, for those of you that are in 6th grade. But if not, you're going to receive a card that looks something like this. Your name will be on it, and it will have a number range telling you what your Lexile level is. Now, what good is this number range? Well, you need to know how to use it. So if you're in the library, Mrs. Pitstick has worked very hard to put the Lexile level inside most books. Also in my classroom, you will see the Lexile level as well. So anytime you see a book in my room, you'll know it's my book because it should be color-coded with kind of a green bar on the back of it. And when you look at books, they are already categorized, so they're leveled for you. They're either in a bin or they're on a spindle that has the numbers on it, so you can go right to that number and see what the books are for choices. When you open up a book in my classroom, you will see that inside it has a lot of information. For those of you that were used to the guided reading level, if that's available to me, I will put that in there. I will also put in the Lexile level, and if you see this stamp right here, it will tell you if it's an AR book, so it will be available to have a quiz on it. I'll also put down if it's fiction or nonfiction. So this one happens to be a fiction, which means that it's made up. But this one is a level that's 930. So if I were the person who owned this card, and my Lexile was a 600 through 750, and this book was a 930, I might think that this might be just a little above my reading ability. Now, one thing that you can do is you can try to open it up and just read the first couple paragraphs. See how hard it is for you. Because your Lexile level is a guide. It doesn't mean that you absolutely positively have to be in that range. We say you can go 50 below, or you can go 50 to 100 above that. But we just want to make sure you're in the right range so you're understanding what you read and so it's easy for you. Again, here's another book. Okay, I know a lot of you like the I Survived. This happens to be a true one that has about 4 stories incorporated into it. Again, you know it belongs to me, not to the library, because it's coated with this green bar, so be looking for that. Make sure that when you return books, these books that have the green bar on them don't go back to the library, they go back to my room, okay? And inside, if I open it up, I can see that the guided reading level is an S, but I also see that the Lexile is rather high. It's a 970, okay? So it's a nonfiction, which means these are true stories. There is some discrepancy between the guided reading S and the Lexile level. So some of it is based on vocabulary, some of it's based on high frequency words, sentence length. You just kind of have to explore to see what's best for you. If you have a question, say, hey, Mrs. Aiden, I'm reading this series. I really like this series, but it's not necessarily in my Lexile level. If you have already been reading it and you want to continue on, I usually am okay with that. So just have conversations with me if you're wondering about something, but do try to stay within your Lexile level. We'll help you out, so don't worry about it. 6th graders, I know that you know how this runs. I do have new books for my classroom this year. They may not all be in there right away, but they will be shortly. If you're wanting to check a book out in my classroom, there is a specific way to do that. I know 6th graders, you guys just seem to know everything. You know how it works in my classroom. This is a checkout sheet for 6th grade. And it will be on a clipboard on the board back toward the carpet area in my room where I have the stand-up book revolving, the revolving charts for books there. And you can go ahead and what you'll do is just put your name, the title of the book, and the day that you checked it out. Most of you are very good about that. The thing that you need to remember to do is when you bring a book back, don't just put it back willy-nilly. Put it back where it goes in the proper Lexile range, and also write down the return date of when you brought it back so I know that it has been returned. That's very important, and that seems to be something that we kind of forgot about. The one for the 5th grade looks very similar, but it's in a different location. This is on my turquoise stand-up shelf by my desk, and the 5th graders will sign out any books they have there, so it's backed by the big bookshelf where you will find this. Also on a clipboard on the turquoise stand-up shelving unit, and same thing. You put your name down, you put the title of the book, you put the date that you checked it out, and when you return, you're going to let me know. Okay, we really want everyone to be able to use these books. So don't forget about it in your desk or your locker or what have you, but you should have a book with you most of the time. It's fine if you have a book that you're reading at home, and it's also fine if you have a book that you're reading at school, but at school we do want you to feel like prepared to read. Whether it be at win time or your teacher gives you a few extra minutes to read, have something available. Also in my classroom I do have comics, I do have magazines. So it's kind of nice to be able to read literature like that. It doesn't always have to be a book, but just know that for the first 4 weeks, we usually say that you need to read so many books within your level, and I'll be letting you know how many that is. So when you go to library, you're going to want to check out a book in your level almost right away. And Mrs. Pitstick has a chart of what your Lexile levels were last year. And 4th graders, if you already have that information, 4th graders coming into 5th grade, and you know what your Lexile is, that's awesome. That's great, okay? But that's what we will be going by this year. Another sign-out sheet that I didn't talk about before was the bathroom sign-out sheet, which is going to be on a clipboard very close to my door. And honestly, we don't want you running to the bathroom every 10 minutes or every single time you come to class, but we're certainly not going to make you wait if you really need to go. So you just put your name, the time that you left, and the time that you came back. It shouldn't take more than, 3 minutes, 4 minutes to go down to the hall, use the facilities, wash your hands, and come back. So if it's absolutely necessary, use the sign-out sheet. Let's try to make sure it's not in the middle of instructions or something like that unless it's an emergency, because we want to make sure that you know what you're doing in the classroom before you would slip out to go to the bathroom. So just wanted to let you know about these different sign-out sheets, wanted to let you know about Lexile and how that works, and let's get ourselves some books and get going.